Welcome back, Airbnb family. So today we're in Split, Croatia. It's actually a port town and it's absolutely beautiful. So you can see behind me, and with some extra video footage I'm going to roll for you right now so you can just see how amazing this city is. I'm loving this vacation. It's been absolutely wonderful. My next and final stop is Belgrade, Serbia. And the one thing I think I should let you know is my next video will be shot there, and what I'm going to do for you is I'm actually going to stay in a hostel, and we're going to look at how a hostel runs its business. Because what they do is they have multiple apartments or multiple rooms, and all the people have shared spaces like shared living rooms, shared kitchens, etc. Now, if you have a 5-bedroom home, you can rent out the whole thing on Airbnb, or you could also just break it up into rooms. And so if you're doing like the private room or shared room thing, there's a lot that we can learn from hostels, and that's why we're going to go into that. But in this video, let's talk about subleasing. I know that a lot of you have had questions on how we get around subleasing. A lot of you think that this is impossible, right? Because there's no way around it. It's illegal. This whole arbitrage thing is just illegal. You're gonna get sued. That's actually not the truth. So I'm gonna give this to you for free so I can put some of your minds at ease on this. That way you can have it. But this was supposed to go in our course, but little teaser, you're welcome. So essentially, for you, those of you who don't know what subleasing is the lease says that if you sign a lease and you're an occupant, right, you're staying in this property, you cannot put somebody else in the property under you or in replace of you because you are the occupant listed and they have rights over that decision. But here's how we get around it. What we do is we form a corporation or even just an LLC. When you form an LLC and you sign a lease, it's impossible for you to be the occupant because a company cannot sleep in the bed, it cannot reside there. So the company has to then declare an occupant. Right? So now what's cool about this is the occupant is then not listed on the lease. Every time you declare an occupant, you're not changing your lease, right? You're changing maybe an addendum or a rider that goes on the back end. And this, you can do this as often as you want as a company. The building may not like it, but you're allowed to. So you can change it every day, every week, every month. The only thing you may have to do is have a background check done for the new occupant, which some buildings, make us do, which changes, the way that we incentivize people. So we try to really get longer term stays there. So we have to do less paperwork per guest. But some buildings, after they've done business with you for 6 months or a year, they just decide to give up on that, and they're like, you know what, you guys are cool, you've done good work, let's stop doing the paperwork. So you can actually graduate out of it with some buildings. Now, this is how you bypass a subletting clause, because a subletting clause does not apply to a company because it's impossible to enforce with a company. That's just done. Now, there are other clauses in the lease that you have to consider, especially new leases, and those things will get covered in the course. Another thing I'm going to give you, though, is when you negotiate these deals, you have to really consider the size of the building that you're working with. When you have a gigantic building where the investment firm owns like 20 apartment complexes, the person who owns all this stuff is not the person you're negotiating with, so there's going to be no ego in the deal. It's just going to be very factual. Now, if you're dealing with a single-family homeowner, somebody who owns a few properties and they're used to regular tenants, that person's ego and feelings may come into play. So his biases for or against Airbnb might actually influence your deal. So in a future video, what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to do some negotiation tactics, techniques, and talking points on what to say to a single-family homeowner to convince them that Airbnb is the right thing for them to do and to let you do it. This way, you don't rub the homeowner the wrong way and lose a big opportunity just because you didn't consider, something that might be rolling around in the back of his head. So if you have any questions for me about that, you want me to clarify a little bit of this subletting clause stuff that we just talked about, feel free to leave it in the comments and share this for anybody who's been super curious or you have a side bet with on what exactly we meant by this, getting around owning property. So stay tuned for those videos in the future. Enjoy all of this wonderful footage of Croatia, and I will see you on the other side.
Town to town, from London to Taiwan, I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul.
So, little trip update. It's maybe like 7 o'clock in the morning. We're on a ferry from an island that I don't think we know the name of still, headed back to Split. We were supposed to go to a bar, but we missed our stop yesterday and ended up taking the ferry to the final stop, which brought us to a town called, sounds like Tortuga, but it's because of a K. So I'm going to spell it at the bottom here. Recollection issues. But anyway, so we're taking our ferry back to Split so that way we can get our car and drive to the falls and then drive back up to Zagreb and fly to Serbia. So we're the cool kids who keep missing our deadlines. We'll see what's up, but it's beautiful outside. Take a look. That should be about right.